left, their trump card, forgive the expression, was, what about the price of eggs? What about the price of eggs 3 weeks into Donald Trump's presidency, right? What about the price of eggs? Okay. Egg prices have now dropped. They should be common ground for the third straight week, along with gas.
I have some good news for you. The USDA's wholesale egg prices dropped.
Why are you trying to eat plastic? Are you a little retard? Are you a little retard?
Nationwide fell to $4.15 per dozen. So let's put that in perspective. That is down about $2.70 in just.
Are you a little retard, kitty? You a little retard?
I looked forward on social this morning to find the leftist profiles that were saying, what about the price of eggs, to see if they go, okay, all right, good for America.
Yes.
Not one exists. Not one. How do you find common ground with that? My genuine question, we need to stop finding common ground based on a lie. You don't revile the left enough. They can't stand you. They use you. You, the American worker who subsidizes the entire world, yes, that includes Europe's entitlement programs, including free internet in Germany. That's because they don't meet their NATO spending, their agreement. You subsidize the entire world, and the left sees you as merely a pawn for political talking point. They don't care about your grocery bills. Otherwise, right now, this will be a celebration. Good.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? We're not seeing it anywhere.
You will not see it. I guarantee you won't see it celebrating Donald Trump and the efforts this administration took. They basically would just say that it happened.
Yeah.
Donald Trump didn't do anything about it. Thank God the farmers got together and had chickens make more eggs.
I'm kind of.
That's what they did. They had a meeting
exactly.
in the chicken coop.
Yeah. They lit some candles.
I can't wait to see all these Democrats posting their Easter pictures.
Yeah. Yes.
They're grown adults without kids painting eggs.
How did they get those chickens to get busy so quickly? Now look,
Little Marvin Gaye.
You call yourself a rooster? You got that hand right there. She's making eyes at you. What? Your rooster won't come out of the hen house? What's going on down there? Come on, we need some eggs.
They call them the dominatrix roosters.
Yes.
I don't think.
I know they're not fertilized.
They don't. Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
It was just perverted. Josh has a problem with
wait a second. Yeah. Those are unfertilized.
No, they don't let them mate. They just bring them in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm very distracted because I just I got a swell mustache hair. It was in
Oh, really?
Oh, sorry about that.
It's my
Yeah.
Oh, you have the sore neck. All right. So let's
See, when a rooster sees another rooster.
That's right. Theme today, the left can't stand America. It really does permeate everything. And this comes at a time right now where two polls, CNN, and then I believe we also have NBC.
NBC, yeah.
NBC. Approval for the Democrat Party as a whole is at an all-time low, where at the same time, we see optimism for the country at a 20-year high. That's a good thing for America, bad for the Democrat Party. That's the trend we're going to be addressing today. All-time low. Here you go.
A brand new exclusive CNN poll that paints a brutal reality for Democrats as they struggle to mount a unified opposition to President Trump. Americans' favorable views of the Democratic Party's brand are at a record low, just 29%. It's compared to 36% for Republicans. It is the lowest ever reported for Democrats in CNN polling, going back more than 30 years. As you can see, the party's numbers dropping a staggering 20 points in just 4 years.
You sound surprised, guy who looks like a mix of Lori Lightfoot and Ralph Macchio. It's Raju Macchio.
Wait till you see your scissor move.
Wait till you see him whack off.
No, wax.
Yeah, well, I hired him to sand my floor. He sucked. So, another NBC poll shows all-time low approval for Democrats.
Wow.
27% approve, with only 7% strongly approving. I don't even know how you do that. Like, you would think, how do you not get your own part? Only 7% strongly approve. This poll goes all the way back to 1990.
NBC, known as a bastion of conservatism.
Yes.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. You know, they got this poll back from CNN. And by the way, they even skew the polls. And someone got the results and went, you're bullshitting.
We got to make this 3% of 7 somehow.
We've got to cover this. Can we say the margin of error is plus or minus the whole poll? Can we just say that? Now, same time, optimism in the country is at a 20-year high. This comes from Axios. 44% of people say the country is heading in the right direction. That's the highest it's been since 2004. Isn't that a great thing?
That's fantastic, but everything you hear on CNN is probably going to be Donald Trump's numbers are tanking. People don't like what he's doing on the economy. It's like, just look at your own numbers.
Right. But it tells you do see an inverse correlation between the Democrats, right, what they want, and what Americans want. That's what you're seeing is this chasm. It is widening. They are very out of touch. For anyone who says that Donald Trump didn't come in with a mandate, it becomes clearer by the day that he has. And you are going to see gas prices probably come down. I don't know how much more they can come down. You're going to see prices stabilize. You're going to see countries playing ball. You're going to see America act unashamed of its country. That's the big cultural shift that we are seeing. We were browbeaten. We felt guilty because the left goes, if you're successful, you must be an oppressor. And if you're an unsuccessful country, you must be oppressed. Turns out Canada just sucks. No. Who knew? It was the unspoken rule.
It really was.
Because,
just don't say
it. Had a rough go.
Yeah.
Let's go through, and for people who are new, all the references are available for this show every day. Link in the description so you can peruse them. Please do not take my word for it. Go read the references. Most of them are left-leaning because we want you to know what the left is saying. Here are the top reasons that we're seeing this from the left and why you are seeing this being completely incongruent, the left's agenda with the United States, with our best interests. Reason number one. The left, everyone thought it was just the economy. This election, I don't agree. I think it was a big deal. But the left has reached so far that they are deeply unpopular as it relates to social issues, and they can't help themselves. They're addicted to crazy.
Protecting and supporting access to gender-affirming healthcare is essential to being a welcoming and supportive state for the community.
I made sure that they
Had a good
changed
time.
the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need.
She said that out loud.
At the White House?
All of us are living our daily lives trying to simply
That's
find
Bernard from the
space
Santa Claus.
to be who we are, to love who we love, to exist in our schools.
So yeah, how did that performance measure up to your expectations coming into this meet tonight?
I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for this meet. I was just happy to be here trying to
Beat up some bridges.
compete as
Get
best
some
I
bitches.
could. Climate change is having a disproportionate effect on the physical and mental health of Black communities.
Safety is the way in which you reopen. Only
Great.
people who think that our members are not the people who are impacted, like students, like parents, would raise these issues.
And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it.
I look at you, I get rageful.
Have the right to ban gender-affirming health care?
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that. It's a moral question and it's a legal question. I just think it's wrong.
So remember, when they try and distance themselves, like Gavin Newsom saying Latinx, I've never heard of that, and men and women's sports, you go, no, get back here. Let's put your face right next to Kamala, right next to Walz, right next to Biden. Come on, get in, scooching for your JCPenney family picture, okay? Don't let them put some distance or daylight between what they did in this country. That includes men and women's sports. That includes the COVID mandates. That includes trans and the kids. That includes LGBTQ, AIP, and pornography in children's schools. That includes the race baiting. That includes the phobia, the ism, everything they could accuse you of being falsely, and they knew it for the last several decades. Don't let them put some distance between who they are and how they are perceived. They can't stand America. Reason number two, that the left is very unpopular. It's not just inflation. We're gonna talk about this as it relates to the Houthi. We're gonna talk about this as it relates to ISIS. The left has weakened America, and there have been presidents who have done that, and it kind of ebbs and flows. But they have championed America, putting ourselves in a weak position, and Americans are tired of it.
Did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically.
It was unprovoked, but this is what Russian President Vladimir Putin unleashed on Ukraine.
The latest China-Russia
Wait, how was that unprovoked?
hostility is now in the past. It's a military partnership that's strengthening. thanks in part to both countries' worsening relations with the United States.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Now, police arresting 33-year-old Sebastian Zapeta, migrant from Guatemala, who entered the country illegally in 2018. They say he allegedly lit Guam's clothes on fire.
Former Marine is facing a second-degree manslaughter charge in connection to the chokehold death of Neely on an Uptown F train. Witnesses say Neely, who was on a special watch list for the city's homeless population, was shouting that he was hungry and didn't care if he died.
Yeah, the greatest country on earth was put in a weak position internationally, and you were put in a weakened position personally. Never-ending supply of funding to Ukraine. Sure, we're not going to call the rest of these NATO nations to actually honor their contract. Yeah, tariffs, 250% on dairy Canada. We don't care. We allowed ourselves to be taken advantage of in the name of progressivism, and then you had to let them loot, give them room to steal, especially if you're in the Bay Area, up to $999 because of something racism. Yeah, we'll have catch and release and no cash bail in New York. Sure, we'll have a summer of love and let people burn down this entire country. This happened under the left's watch. And even people who voted Democrat are saying, you know what are we doing here? The Afghanistan pullout, Russia invading Ukraine, crime in our cities that they tried to claim was down. Of course, you believed your lying eyes, your lying ears. Illegals who have no business being here, killing citizens, including Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungaray. Terrorists attacking our shipping vessels. We'll get to that. And this brings us to key reason number 3 that the left is losing. Remember when they used to say Republicans had no identity, conservatives didn't, they were just the party of no to Barack Obama? I don't necessarily agree with that, and there's a valid reason for people to be saying no, because Barack Obama set the stage for Biden. Everything that you really hate as far as overly powerful, encroaching government to every area of your life, that stage was set by Barack Obama. But the left really doesn't have an identity. Progress for the sake of progress leads nowhere when at a certain point the American people reject said progressivism. And so all they have left to offer is what we now know as Trump derangement syndrome. They're the party of Trump bad.
You're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one.
Other than day one, which is another way of saying, yep, it's a frightening new flashpoint in a trend that we have monitored for years.
Or it's a joke.
Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Ayatollah Khomeini, and Vladimir Putin. In fact, Stalin won the distinction twice, just like Trump.
Trump warning while discussing the economy that there would be a, quote, bloodbath if he is not reelected in November.
Trump is mentally incapable of doing the job he was elected to do.
President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever.
We know who he is to the black press. How he
the guy who shows up,
berated us, how
on time.
his minions have berated us.
Erratic, frightening, disruptive, and dictator were among the words they used to describe their concerns.
Trump likes drama and he likes to win. If he pursues the present course, he will not win. He will lose.
Does that mean teeth?
Putin's stooge.
So there.
Poodle.
So it's all. What was your reaction? Well, my reaction was I was at Costco buying, 10 boxes of Keurig coffee, and my watch started to buzz, and I got so excited I started leaking a little bit.
Ew, at your age? Gross.
Yeah. Let me just rephrase that. What she meant to say was, I was buying the least environmentally sustainable and completely unnecessary form of coffee humanly possible, and I pissed my old panties. But it's Trump's fault.
We ought to say, marsh my blood.
Poor French people were like, don't say that. They said the show for family, don't talk like that. So what is it? Donald Trump's a dictator. Donald Trump promised a bloodbath when he was talking about cars and factories going to Mexico. Donald Trump is incompetent. Donald Trump is a Russian stooge. Something egg prices. None of this has been consistent. The only through line you are seeing from the left is we hate Donald Trump. As far as policy, what you are seeing is they have consistently weakened the United States position and blamed you for it, the American worker. And when asked if the country was heading in the right direction, Washington had this to say.
I don't know. I just got here.
You know what? Hey, it's okay to not know.
That's right. If you don't know, that's the right answer.
That is the right
Be honest.
Yeah.
Don't be confidently wrong.
I find myself answering that all the time with my son because he's at the why phase.
Oh, God.
He just goes, why? You're like, because that's, I went to the store and I bought it. Why?
You're like 10 layers deep.
Oh boy, I have to question supply side economics.
Yeah.
What's going?
Explain his desire.
You realize you don't think why enough.
Yes.
Why? Because they weren't taking any more kids for adoption.
Some of them are racist. Let's just move on to the conversation, okay? That's enough.
You know who's asking why right now? CNN. Why are these poll numbers so low? Democrat favorability hits record low. You know what Donald Trump is doing? He is forcing them to double down because they just showed poll numbers that they said they wanted more people to stop Donald Trump and to double down on their principles. Good. Donald Trump is forcing you to double down on losing issues. Yeah. Go for it. Be like the Don Lemons of the world. Ask why and not point the finger at yourself and just point the finger at Donald Trump. See how that goes.
Yeah, no, it's something racism, transphobia, homophobia. Well, homophobia is not really used anymore, I guess.
Really, I'm not really afraid anymore.
Well, I don't think anyone's been afraid.
Maybe it is a film.
I went through exposure therapy.
You did?
Yeah, you just go to a gay bar and you touch Richard Simmons tapes.
It's the white privilege shared by all the races.
Yes, exactly.
That's better than immersion therapy.
Yeah, well, depends. Oh, wait, we're talking about homophobia? No, immersion therapy. Yeah, immersion therapy.
Very, very bad. Very
bad. Here are some reasons, though, for optimism. On the flip side, okay, you see people saying, all right, yeah, all-time low approval of the Democrat Party. Why are people optimistic at a 20-year high? All right, here's the first reason. Again, from the party of no, with no solutions. Immigration. Right, we're looking at all-time low border crossings. 56% of Americans approve of President Trump's handling of the borders. Now, I don't think that policy should be dictated by polls. I think policy should be dictated by constitutional parameters and what is right. It is certainly right for the federal government to protect its citizens from threats, both internal and external.
Yes.
This falls under the purview of government. So this is a happy coincidence where what is right lines up with polls. 66% of Americans support deporting illegals. Remember when we were told that would never happen? All the libertarian experts, what do you think, are just going to round them up and deport them?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Kind of the same way we said you can't stop the crossings. We just, 5,000 a day, then we'll close the border.
Right.
Really? Yeah. How about 540 or whatever it was?
Right.
That one day.
This is where we are. Something else, too. The left is surprised that Americans believe, hey, maybe the federal government is wasteful. This brings us to reason number 2. Cutting said waste. 46% of people said that DOGE was a good idea. Taxpayers are happy that they ultimately will be able to keep more of their own money. That is a fundamental shift, because I've been around since the Bernie Bros were a thing, and they were always talking about taxing the rich. You could never really pin them down in a number. It was, give me more from them. That has shifted to, okay, you know what? At least let me keep more of my own money. Let me ask you this. If at the end of the day, let's say you taxed the wealthy even more, and you redistributed it, versus simply allowing everyone to keep more of their own money. So it's the same money at the end of the day. Which way is less corrosive? Which way is less intrusive? Which way permits people to have more freedom, to be able to manifest their own destiny? That's a fundamental shift in culture. I think that's why people are optimistic, because they see you can't just tax and spend your way into wealth. Reason number 3, and I think this is a big thing. You look, the pendulum kind of swings in the 80s. Everyone was pro-America. Everyone was proud. You kind of had it after 9/11. Everyone came together. And then we started teaching kids that the United States is uniquely responsible for all the evils of the world. I think Americans at a certain point, and all these other countries can be nationalistic. They can be proud of their nation. What, for crying out loud, we have people who come to this nation from nations that they're supposedly fleeing and prop up their, I don't want to see a Mexican flag in my neighborhood.
Yeah, we let Germans be proud of being German and
Yeah, that doesn't work out that well.
They did some stuff.
Yeah. If you're a history buff, you got to keep your eye on them.
Yes.
They're untrustworthy. Killed a lot of Jews.
Not sure if you knew that. Actually, that's
President Trump's message is very pro-American, and I think America is ready for it.
For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. We've been ripped off for years, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore. No, I'm not going to bend at all. The United States can't subsidize a country for $200 billion a year. We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't need their lumber. And to be honest with you, Canada only works as a state. It doesn't. We don't need anything they have. The United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly. And nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours. And our golden age has just begun. People love our country again. It's very simple. They love our country, and they love being in our military again. So it's a great thing. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others. But others could use it. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve.
Hear that applause? And by the way, not even close to the applause he received from that infamous picture when he saved a baby bald eagle while wiping his ass with the Canadian flag. That was one look. Look, this is something. You may not agree with his methods, but the spirit of the message. Fantastic. Yeah. I didn't see that Photoshop until he went to wiping his ass with the flag. That was one look. Look, this is. Something. You may not agree with his methods, but the spirit of the message. Fantastic. Yeah. I didn't see that Photoshop until he went to air. I don't know why he has the copper tone baby butt, but yes.
I've never seen a baby bald eagle. It's cute. It's so cute.
It is cute. I want one. Can we do that, or are they in danger?
That's it. They are protected. Not in danger, but they're protected.
Even the babies? Yeah, I can just protect
Especially the babies, Gerald.
I still don't know how to identify a hawk versus an eagle. I don't know which one's bigger. Can you guys comment below? I don't know.
It depends. Which one are you talking about?
Yes, okay. Yeah, I wanted to start falconry until I realized that they can attack you when you're sleeping.
That's dangerous.
So the conclusion is, it's hate. The left is the party of hate. The Democrats are the party of hate. The progressive wing progresses towards hate. They get more power and they create more hate. They sow more division while accusing you of doing so. It's projection. The left cannot stand America. It's the same reason that if you go house to house and you see an American flag being waved proudly, you're almost guaranteed that they're conservative. You can see Bill Burr's latest stand-up special, where he was talking about how it bothers him, how aggravated he is at dumb people who fly the flag. Well, the reason why is because a lot of people want to show their patriotism because there are so many Americans who seem to be ashamed of this country. That's not an issue on which we should be divided, so you have to ask yourself why. And once you do, that's what explains these latest poll numbers and approval ratings. The future looks bright for the United States. That's what I would say. That's a good thing. Unless, by the way, it looks bright, exception. It doesn't look so bright if you overpay on taxes.
What does overpaying on your taxes feel like? About like that. Don't let the IRS bust your balls. Visit tnusa.com/Crowder or call 1-800-958-1000 for immediate relief and expert guidance. Ooh. There you go. I didn't realize we were cutting at that point. Get a direct preferred line of the IRS. Talk to an agent for free. tnusa.com/Crowder. And as we promised you to new people tuning in, never more than one sponsor per show, because Rumble Premium is what keeps the lights on here. We are funded by viewers like you, not in the way that NPR or PBS, I couldn't remember the name, PBS says, you know, they're funded by a foreign caliphate and taxpayer dollars. You can click that button and join Rumble Premium and watch us for an additional hour every day. Mug Club is now Rumble Premium. What were you about to say there, Gerald? That looks like you had something.
Well, they wanted me to remind everybody, download the Rumble app and make sure you follow us. Yes, so follow us. You'll get the live notifications. And don't do it right this second, but after this show, update the app. Update the app. Make sure.
So, I don't know, anyone here have very strong opinions on the Houthis other than kill them?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, we're mostly in agreement then?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Or hopefully they die of their own accord.
Yeah.
I'm also for that.
Yeah, starvation's okay too.
Yeah.
So,
Drowning.
here is, again, where we are. The left can't stand America. You've seen what is happening right now. Well, we'll start with ISIS and then get to the Houthis. I don't know how you have people who try and maintain these positions. Send more money to Ukraine. The people who were the anti-war party. I don't know where Coach Pink has gone. And then, Donald Trump is a warmonger when he's attacking people. We should never engage in violence, and all of it is bad, and that's because a lot of them are delusional. I don't get how the left tries to present themselves as logically consistent. So, here's where we are. The first sort of serious military action of his second term. This happened on Thursday. President Trump killed the ISIS chief Abu Khadija.
U.S. CENTCOM forces announced that on March 13th, it had conducted a precision airstrike in western Iraq, killing ISIS.
Thursday, President Trump killed the ISIS chief Abu Khadija.
U.S. CENTCOM forces announced that on March 13th, it had conducted a precision airstrike
Oh, dang.
in western Iraq, killing ISIS chief of operations Abu Khadija and one other ISIS operative. Is Abu dead?
Abu dead.
Probably.
It's unclear if it's confirmed.
Listen, it should be a celebration. So, according to Central Command, he was in charge of operations, logistics, global planning, and finance. He was a busy terrorist beaver. Yes, he was. And keep in mind that President Trump was wearing this while he annihilated the ISIS leader. And he signed himself. Yes. And we actually have an exclusive look at the strike on Khadija.
If I would walk 500 miles in life, I would walk 500 more. And to be the man who will walk 1,000 miles and fall down at your door.
It's a feel-good family play. It is. There's a twist. Not really.
Why would you put the oil filter like that?
But you want to see how we get there.
National Lampoon's Iraq Vacation.
Yes, exactly. Don't get me started. Ernest takes Kabul. It's a lot of fun. So, Trump also announced that the United States would take military action against the Houthis in Yemen. He posted this on Truth Social. He said, "Today I have ordered the United States military to launch decisive and powerful military action against the Houthi terrorists in Yemen." To all Houthi terrorists, your time is up, and your attacks must stop starting today. I have ordered the United States military to launch decisive and powerful military action against the Houthi terrorists in Yemen. To all Houthi terrorists, your time is up, and your attacks must stop starting today, not tomorrow, today. If they don't, hell will rain down upon you like nothing you have ever seen before. They don't get IMAX, so this is... It's true. And all caps for half of that.
It's not light rain.
No, it's not
Very heavy rain.
Yeah. The rain, it's chubby rain. The rain is chubby. Name that movie line. You can comment below. Rubio, who's probably most improved player that we're seeing as of late, he laid out exactly what this means and what the goal is. Again, clear and the best interest of the United States.
This is not a message. This is not a one-off. This is an effort to deny them the ability to continue to constrict and control shipping. And it's just not going to happen. We're not going to have these guys, these people with weapons able to tell us where our ships can go, where the ships of all the world can go, by the way. It's not just the U.S. We're doing the world a favor. Yeah. We're doing the entire world a favor by getting rid of these guys and their ability to strike global shipping. That's the mission here, and it will continue until that's carried out. That never happened before. The Biden administration didn't do that. All the Biden administration would do is they would respond to an attack. These guys would launch one rocket, we'd hit the rocket launcher. That's it. This is an effort to take away their ability to control global shipping in that part of the world. That's just not going to happen anymore.
And it
so this will continue until that's finished.
It's funny to me that she seems confused. Yeah. Right. Like, is there anything less American than, just a tit for tat? Oh, they hit one, we'll hit another. You realize this country was like, we didn't just start a war. We were petty enough to dump all of their tea into the harbor.
I know.
Like, we're going to shoot you, and you know what? Screw you. Look at this. All this tea, gone. You have survival. Like, we don't give a rat's ass. We're going to switch to beans, bitch.
We tried the proportional response angle already. You're going to see how many times. I was shocked by this number. We'll get to it in a second.
Yeah.
But now it's the disproportional response.
Which is what I like.
Yes.
I like a very, very violent response.
As a glass factory in Yemen.
When dealing with terrorists who are targeting Americans.
Houthis, yes.
To be clear. So let's go through the claims that you are hearing. All references available, link in the description. You'll hear this claim from the left and from some libertarians, unfortunately, that President Trump is a neocon tool of the military-industrial complex. Thomas Massey, who I usually like, not so much in foreign policy, said, regarding U.S. activity in Yemen, I recently said to watch for a new military engagement to compensate for the pullback in Ukraine. The military-industrial complex demands about $50 billion a year from our government, above and beyond what's necessary to defend our own country. Well, that's true right now, but here's the truth. We're not starting anything. Because it's very, very different from Ukraine, and I think that most of you know this. You have to be really stupid to be in our hallowed halls of Congress and the Senate or academia to act as though there's some kind of equivalency between this and unnecessary wars. You know, like Ukraine. So look, since September 2023, the Houthi attacks on our Navy, okay, the number is 174. On commercial shipping, 145.
That's 173 more than there should have been.
Yes, exactly.
Until something like this happened. I'm sorry, one time on the U.S. Navy, and hell rains down on you.
Yes.
There's no proportional response to this.
How many ship attacks did it take us to get into World War II? You know?
Yeah. Well,
how many fake ones did it take to get us into Vietnam?
That's a good point. Yeah. These attacks take place. This is a legitimate role of the military. Do I think the military is bloated? Sure. When you're providing sex change operations to people who have no business being there in the first place, yeah. Do I think that this is an unnecessary use of force when they have attacked us several hundred times and have said that they will continue to do so? No. And by the way, I don't believe we should ever enter into conflict unless it directly involves America's interests. This does. You can comment if you disagree. Here's another claim that you will see, that this actually doesn't even help America, and for some reason it benefits China. You see this a lot. You can see that up there in the collage, the overlays. Here's the truth. No. Wrong. That's wrong. So a lot of aspects of trade as it relates to the United States have been impacted. Auto imports, textiles, agricultural exports. Partners like South Korea, Japan, they also depend pretty heavily on the Suez Canal, to be clear. And for those of you who don't remember, in March 2024, the Houthis already promised China and Russia free navigation through the Red Sea, whereas right now they're saying, but no Americans. Well, that doesn't sound super friendly, to be clear. There's the next claim that you're going to see, and there's a faction that has sort of been growing quite a bit, that President Trump is something Jews.
Oh, boy.
Doing this for Israel.
This is way more prevalent than I want to admit.
Now, look, I understand. Criticism of the Israeli government and some of what they do is valid. Fine. My opinion is I want Hamas wiped off the face of the map. I think it's probably going to come to a one-state solution. The state will be Israel. Do we give too much money to Israel? That can be argued. Yes. And certainly when you understand that we're sending money to Qatar, who funds Hamas and Hezbollah, I think if we just pinched that valve and sent money to none of the nations, including Israel and all the nations who want to wipe it off the face of the map, hey, they'd be better off. There's a valid argument to be made. But something, Houthi rebels were only attacking them because Jews, I don't understand this. They're attacking our Navy, the American Navy, our sailors. They killed civilian cargo shipping crew members. None of them were Israeli. They are damaging shipping on a global level. And even worse, they give stupid press conferences like this in which their leader looks like Guile in Street Fighter if you hit the X button and it changed colors.
وردا على هذا العدوان نفذت القوات المسلحة بعون الله تعالى عملية عسكرية نوعية استهدفت من خلالها حاملة الطائرات الأمريكية وإسعاف والقطع الحربية التابعة لها شمالي البحر الأحمر وذلك ب18 صاروخا باليستيا ومجنحا وطائرة مسيرة في عملية مشتركة نفذتها القوة الصاروخية وكذلك سلاح الجو المسير والقوات البحرية.
I don't know about you, but I just was intimidated 0%
No, I don't take that guy seriously. By the way, he included weird details like winged missiles. Like that matters.
Yeah.
He said ballistic missiles before, so that shows technological kind of, prowess. Fine, but we have the winged missiles and
I think it's just bragging that look at our arsenal. You know?
Yeah.
We have missiles that look like the Nerf ball that's like a bat, but it has wings. It goes.
Hey, we have one that's glows in the dark so you can play without the light.
That's exactly right. Also, we have internet and cricket. Now,
wireless or the game?
The left has gone right. Well, it's a game that takes like 2 weeks to play. It's the most ridiculous game ever, and anyone who makes cricket their national sport is inferior. So, we now see the left pro-Ukraine, right? You're just a coward. You're a stooge for Putin. But now they're back to being anti-war as it relates to dealing with Houthi terrorists, the rebels who are killing Americans. Here's Brian Krasenstein, one of the twins. He said, "I was promised less war, not more."
Shut up.
Well, why don't you cry it? First off, there still is less war.
Yeah.
Hate that. There is less war, to be clear. I mean, it's not like Biden wasn't doing anything as it related to Yemen. He just sucked at it.
Also, eliminating these Houthi fighters will equate less war.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's 174 naval ships. Okay, how about we don't have those naval ships get attacked?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That was a novel idea. You MAGA MFers said Trump was a no-wars president. We never said that. And he's already bombing Yemen in less than 2 months. You fell for it again, morons. Oh, you can go to
He didn't bomb Yemen. He bombed the
We've never
terror.
said Donald Trump's a no-wars president.
No.
We said he's the most anti-war president in modern American history. And he's been very clear that he will use it as a tool if people harm Americans.
Right.
You harm someone who is not American, you are having a war that doesn't involve the United States. We are not going to enter into it so that we can save our reserves. We can be prepared to hit you with the unholy hellfire that you deserve if you so much as scratch a hair on the head of an American. No wars, less wars.
By the way, just to add another person to this, never let it be said that Jackson Hinkle can come down on the wrong side of an issue. Just posting that.
He's pro-Yemen?
Of course.
He's pro-Houthi?
He's anti-everything America stands for. Find an enemy of America and he will side with them. I can't.
By the way, that's way worse of a Nazi salute than Elon.
It is.
He's holding it.
So he's got the fist.
He's sticking it.
Yeah.
He's fisting it, really.
Power, I guess. I don't know.
Look, Houthi terrorism is bad for everybody, and it's really, really bad for Americans. Again, the left is simply anti-American. They can't stand America. Ukraine, they deserve money, even though it's one of the money laundering capitals of the world. We sent them more money than all of them. They are saying that there's no valid claim to say, hey, why doesn't Europe step up? We've given them more than all of Europe. And by the way, we don't need to enter into this war. There's no valid argument to be made, according to the left, that we should maybe start putting a stop to that funding. However, there can be no valid claim to the left that we should take out terrorists who have targeted and killed and stated that they will continue to do so against American citizens. Can you guys help me make that make sense? I really have a tough time with it. And this brings, did you have something, Noodles?
I was just gonna say, with this Soleimani in his first term, wasn't it? It's not necessarily a war to perform strikes like this.
Right. No, it actually is an anti-war. Yeah. I mean, if there's a difference between going and taking out somebody in charge, slowing down the operation or stopping an operation, hopefully, and doing a full-scale invasion. Well, you take out these Houthi fighters, now you avoid a full-on naval battle.
Yeah.
Or they let the Houthis. That's what they would like. These women would love to have the Houthis escalate this.
Yeah. Escalates to the point where you have to have a full-scale conflict. Yeah.
Oh, now we gotta order more planes. Now we gotta order more missiles.
Or you just nip it in the hairy terrorist butt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, basically, the other opportunity or the other thing that you're offering is, okay, we just have to wait until they kill more utilities and maybe actually sink the vessel.
Yeah.
Is that really the argument that you got? Again, Donald Trump has forced them to be on the wrong side of another issue. Really quickly, almost forgot, we have the Rumble Live promo code right now for $20 off.
Oh, to join Rumble Premium?
That's right. Yeah. Rumble Live promo code. Use it right now to join Rumble Premium. Get this show, extra hour of our show, just like we've always done.
Everything that's free is still free if you're on YouTube. Please head on over to Rumble, and we will be rating all of you, passing you over if you are not a Rumble Premium member through Tim Pool in about 10 minutes. And if you are Rumble Premium, you continue watching David Live for another 45 minutes. It's automatic. Free is still free, and you have that lineup. No need to go anywhere else. Speaking of full-scale invasion, let's talk about our border. Okay, let's talk about the gang members who've been flooding into the United States. The left referred to it a figment of your imagination. So we've seen the left, they oppose us attacking terrorists who are killing American citizens, soldiers, and saying they will continue to do so. We see the left, of course, upset as it relates to Doge and saving the American taxpayer dollars. We see the left upset in Donald Trump reducing our spending with Ukraine in a never-ending war. They're upset about that. Okay, but can there be any justification to be made as to how allowing unfettered illegal immigration is beneficial to you, the American taxpayer?
Oh my goodness.
Because here we are. You guys know this. There was a judge who blocked the Trump administration from using the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport MS-13 and TVA members. I believe it's Tren de Aragua. You know, a lot of these are Venezuelan gangs. So this act was used to deport violent felons, and a judge blocked the administration from deporting violent felons. Let's get into their argument here.
The Trump administration says it sent hundreds of alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador, raising questions about whether the deportations violate an order from a federal judge. Yesterday, the judge temporarily blocked the administration from deporting non-U.S. citizens under the Alien Enemies Act. He also ordered 2 planes carrying non-citizens that were in the air during the hearing to return to the U.S. immediately.
I don't know. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, President Trump ignored it. I bet you he waited to answer that question. Tell him I'm in the bathroom. Oh, no, wait. The plane's already over international waters. I guess they should shut the big one.
The radios aren't working.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, no, they shouldn't be using Vonage. Now, the planes on Sunday touched down in El Salvador, and it's a sight. It's good.
Yeah, they're definitely treated like prisoners there.
I love that those are violent, hardened gang members who are actually walking in the huddled fetal position. I've never seen that, but you know that they got some good swats on that plane. You don't typically walk around straight and just like, okay, I'm done, man. I'm done. I'll go in and sell, please.
They couple of rib shots out of the plane. Anybody else?
And this is a good example of Donald Trump rewards people who are good to us, allies, and those who are not. It's the carrot and it's the stick. So the El Salvador President Bukele wrote this, that the United States will pay a very low fee for them, but a high one for us. I don't know what an El Salvador accent is, so I don't want to
screw that up. Yeah.
It's all the way. I'll do Spanish.
Yeah, I was going to say, just do it.
We will continue advancing in the fight against organized crime. But this time, we are also helping our allies, making our prison system self-sustainable, as obtaining vital intelligence to make our country an even safer place. All in a single action. May God bless El Salvador, and may God bless the United States. It's my favorite Hispanic, is the actual Spanish one.
Yeah, it's the fun. Sorry, El Salvador.
And so what you're seeing happen right now is, of course, the usual suspects on the left. They're having a conniption fit. You can see that they're furious about this because for some reason these violent gang members are entitled to constitutional rights here in the United States, even though we have no idea how many people they've killed, raped, robbed, no clue, pillaged. And the media, of course, is doing what they do. They're playing these word games, right? And this is what they did in the past, saying, well, you know, undocumented workers. In this case, they're actually omitting the fact that these are criminal gang members.
Just hours after Donald Trump tried to use an 18th century law to deport 5 Venezuelans, a federal judge halted Trump's order. The federal judge blocked the administration from deporting any non-citizens under the president's Alien Enemies Act.
A federal judge is blocking a new order from the president to deport some immigrants.
President Trump has invoked a wartime law known as the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to help speed up mass deportations in our country.
He could be invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The president saying this would pave the way for faster mass deportations of those in the country illegally.
You know what else is from the 1700s? Freedom of speech. Yeah. The second, come on. Like,
freedom of press, the one you're using right now to try to minimize the act, saying it's from the 18th century.
They'll say like this is a slippery slope. If you deport violent criminals right now, gang members, what's next? More of them? I hope so.
Citing freedom of speech.
I hope so.
I love how
this idea.
This morning we saw on CNN, it said alleged gang members.
Yeah.
What's the alleged? The MS-13 tattoo on his face?
Yeah. They all self-identified guys.
Yeah.
They're quite proud of it. I don't think they're going to deny it.
The fact that he bragged to like 19 people in his neighborhood and showed them documented proof, like this is the picture of that kid and put his head on a turtle, right? That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you know it's Tren de Aragua? Well, he had TDA on his knuckles.
Yes, yes. And his header on X said, "I kill people for fun." So we thought, we think, is this an admission of guilt? So
close enough.
Someone from the White House said that this is going to be headed to the Supreme Court. We're going to win. Who's right? Okay. Another key fact here, all references available, link in the description. The Alien Enemies Act of 1789 is still relevant and should be applied. Let me read it for you. It says, whenever there is any invasion or predatory incursion perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government, and the President makes public proclamation of the event, all natives, citizens, denizens, or subjects of a hostile nation or government being of the age of 14 years and upward, who shall be within the United States and not actually naturalized, shall be liable to be apprehended, restrained, secured, and removed as alien enemies.
Good.
Okay? So I guess the technical argument from the left is, well, you're a foreign nation. Okay, well, Maduro's Venezuela, they facilitated TDA gang, to be clear. This doesn't just exist in a vacuum. They're effectively an arm of the government. Well, transnational gangs like MS-13, they're operating as nations in and of themselves with their own rules, their own codes of conduct, and they're taking advantage, or at least were, of our porous border. It is almost like this Alien Act was designed for this.
Yeah, MS-13 has their own treasurer.
Yeah. They also have their own secretary of turtleheads. Very weird one, but they're very big on putting heads on turtles. I don't know why they do so much of it. Like, you can just intimidate me by being like, I'm going to cut off your head. I don't care what you do with it afterward. Put it on a turtle. It's for a good scene. And
I'm not going to see it.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it'll strike fear in the hearts of other people. Here's a key fact. Number 2. I think we're at number 2. The federal courts, they have no business, no authority to do this, to be clear. Right? This was made pretty clear in the U.S. versus Curtis Wright. This isn't here. This comes from, you can bring up this overlay. It says, the president is the sole organ of the federal government in the field of international relations. Let me ask you this. Do you think the founding fathers intended for 1 out of around 900 federal judges to be able to unilaterally stop the president from doing his job? Now, if you say, hey, this is a check, right, against the abuse of executive authority, okay, fine. But this check is basically an abuse of executive authority, only it's 1 out of 900 judges.
I didn't think the founding fathers could imagine that there'd be 900 judges.
Well, that's probably true.
That's probably true, too.
But also, it's very clear when it comes to foreign policy, the president is the one person that has control of that.
And not to mention, by the way, that this judge did not have any federal authority whatsoever. Like, they didn't have the authority to turn these flights around. They were in international waters at the time.
Yeah.
The El Salvador president, gaily tweeted,
awesome.
Oopsie, too late.
Whoa. And by the way, remember we're trying to get rid of the guy from Columbia University? What's his name? The judge basically said we have to keep him here so that I have jurisdiction, which is kind of making the point. They were outside of the United States, no jurisdiction anymore.
Right. You can argue. Well, this just comes back. Now, the spirit of it is why? Why would the left, you look at it in its totality. They're outraged at strikes against Houthi rebels who are killing Americans. They're outraged at trimming back the federal government, for example, the IRS or USA that was corrupt. They're outraged at the idea of deporting violent, felonious criminals who have killed American citizens. At a certain point, you do have to ask, can you show me one issue where you line up on behalf of the American worker, the American taxpayer? Not just some small subgroup of women shouting their abortions or trans individuals who want to get sex changes in the military. Can you name me? The truth is you can't. The left has a deep loathing of the United States of America. That's why we are seeing a huge difference right now. That's why we are seeing all-time low approval ratings for Democrats. We are seeing all-time optimism high for the United States, because the optimism is based on the idea that, hey, you know what? We should be looking out for ourselves, our neighbors, our fellow American citizens. And we're going to continue with this, by the way. Tim Pool right now, for people who are still watching, I believe we can click that button, join Rumble Premium, keep watching with us, or just keep watching. It's the lineup. Rumble, we own live. Next week, we cancel YouTube completely. In just a second, you're going to go on to watch Tim Pool. He has a great show set up for you today. But right now, before we do, President Trump noticed that some of these executive orders from Biden, right, or some of these last-minute pardons, they may not actually be valid because he used an auto pen. I thought this was some DocuSign, but it's an actual, like, 80s, a short-circuit robot. It's
a real pen.
Yeah, here you go.
The man was grossly incompetent. All you have to do is take a look at he signs by AutoPad.
I've heard of such a thing.
You're proud to sign him. You have your signature on something in 300 years. They say, look, can you imagine? Everything was signed by AutoPen. Almost everything. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing.
Well, okay, so that's the one he adds in the left. We have heard of such a thing. This is excessive, but we have heard of such a thing. And I really did. I don't know if I thought AutoPen was some sort of DocuSign, like a technical term. No, it's like a Rube Goldberg. It's like the Asian kid in the Goonies. You drop in a rock and a little thing goes, and you have slick shoes.
It's like when they put baseball players' autographs on Louis Vuitton.
Yes. Do they use AutoPens?
No, it's an engraver tool, but yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize they had the same. I mean, I guess it makes sense that they would have a pen that did that for previous technology.
Yeah, I didn't know they could do it for pardons. Seems like you should know the guy you're pardoning.
It's a fair point.
So actually, for those of you who doubt this, here's actually a clip that's been making the rounds that shows these signatures are completely identical. There's no variance, which of course would be alleged proof that this is an AutoPen. Which brings us to the fun part. President Trump posted on Truth. He said, "The pardons that Sleepy Joe gave to the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs." I don't think that's an actual committee.
That's probably not.
And many others, too many to name here, are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done, frankly, by AutoPen. Therefore, those on the Unselect Committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during their 2-year witch hunt of me and many other innocent people, but mostly me, should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge or consent of the worst president in the history of our country, crooked Joe Biden.
He just can't stop. He can't turn it off. This is who he is to his core.
Yeah. I love how he goes Sleepy Joe on the outset. Yeah. He's like, I'll mix it up. I'll start with Sleepy. I'll end with crooked.
And it also sounds like he feels bad for Biden. Like, you guys are pulling over his eyes.
Yeah.
How could you do this to the worst president?
But it's also, look, the reason this is more concerning in this context is because people, especially after that debate, we do this for years, but people are wondering, oh my gosh, who's running the country?
Yeah. We said that for a long time.
Yeah.
Then you had guys like Joe Scarborough coming out. Yeah. You had Joe Scarborough coming out, in March of last year, saying this is the sharpest Joe Biden that I've ever seen. He's on top of his game, and we're all looking around like, are we taking crazy pills, or is this guy falling upstairs a lot?
Well, as Jake Tapper said, no, he's always had a stutter.
Ah, that's right. I remember that. And we're making fun of somebody for their disability at this point.
Well, I have family members who have a stutter. They didn't all of a sudden become retarded.
Or racist.
Yeah. Well, he didn't become racist. He's always been pretty racist.
He carried that racist stutter with him for a very long time.
We have the clips.
Yes, we do. President Trump also posted this image showing an AutoPen in place of Biden's portrait.
If he hangs that in the White House, I will love him even more.
Please do it.
Is that real? Come on, is that a Photoshop or is it real? Let's make it real.
I'm sure it's a Photoshop.
Let's make it real. It's accurate.
Can you bring it back up? I just love this guy. Look at that.
What?
He's like, Biden, you remove the bust of Churchill, say no more.
I love the idea of him replacing every president's picture with something else.
Yes.
Yeah, Garfield is the cat.
Teddy Roosevelt's just a teddy bear.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, is this going to be going anywhere? Well, probably not. No. The courts have pretty much already ruled that pardons do not have to be in writing. AutoPens have been used for quite a while, so it's already been deemed acceptable. But it is funny, and it is a little bit petty.
It is.
On behalf of President Trump. But I would say completely warranted.
It strikes fear in the hearts of these guys a little bit, and I don't like that. It also sparks a conversation. Like, he just keeps throwing stuff out there. Yeah, this is one of those things. Don't pay attention to what he says so much as what he does. Mm-hmm. Is he going to actually try and go after these people, or is he going to use this as leverage, essentially, to get information, or to point the finger back and go, remember this? Remember what Joe Biden did? He pardoned all these people that would have probably been in some trouble to some degree or another. His family, obviously, right? Fauci obviously had some questions to answer. We won't get those answers now. His son, obviously. Yeah. The committee, did you guys delete it? Did you do a fair presentation to the American people? Because we know you didn't.
Mm-hmm. I'm also wondering if we're going to get those Epstein files, so that's what's on.
I don't know that we ever will.
Hi. That was the Epstein files.
That's what happened.
Fell out of noodles.
It was 3 inches from
that sounded heavy, which means it's expensive.
Nah, it's fine.
I can expect an expense report tomorrow.
No, don't worry about that.
What is CNN right now, they're talking about this. They will never talk about the victories. They'll only talk about the petty disagreements. Right now they're talking about a White House.
We denied the
White House denial of the judge ordering them to. What even? They didn't deny this. The judge was wrong. Let's see what they're saying here.
Been a really bad idea to bring these planes back, but that misses the point.
No, it doesn't.
It is the point. That's what the judge ordered. You don't get to decide whether you think it's a good or bad idea.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you do.
The judge doesn't get to decide.
Judge ain't the fucking president.
Authority can be used. Not one lone judge.
The judge is on one phone. The president is on the other. Who are you listening to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, yes, this law was specifically designed. And by the way, you may not like the law. It's still on the books. It was used in other cases. This law was specifically designed so the president could do it immediately, not after a lot of consultation, not over time, immediately. You're missing the entire point of the law. You don't like that? That's fine. Change the law. Maybe make a proposal to get rid of the 1798 or whatever it is law, 1789. That's stupid. And he's like, and of course it would have been a bad idea to bring the planes back, but that's not the point.
That's exactly.
This judge can override a clear